Hey everyone, today we talk about the cool girl trap. Remember when we talked about hyper-independence a while back? How so many of us are building these emotional fortresses, celebrating self-reliance to a point where we can't let anyone in? I remember a friend telling me, her voice flat over the phone, "I've built my life so perfectly that there's no room for anyone to mess it up." She said it like a victory, but it sounded like a cage. Well, today we're pulling the thread on that idea and seeing where it leads, right into the messy, confusing, and strategic heart of modern dating. Because it turns out that hyper-independence isn't just a personality trait. It's a core strategy in a very old game that's gotten a 21st century makeover. The central tension, the big conflict in dating today, is that we're all playing a game of chicken, and nobody told us the rules. Think about it. Two cars driving straight at each other on a narrow road. The first one to swerve is the chicken. They lose. The one who holds firm, who barrels ahead without flinching, they win. In dating, the cars are our feelings and the road is the relationship. The game is who can care less. On TikTok, creator @YourDatingAlly recently got millions of views for a video where she said, the moment you admit this situationship is hurting you, you lose. The power is in pretending you wanted it this way all along. The person who swerves first, who texts first, who asks to define the relationship first, they're often seen as the loser, the needy one, the one who isn't cool. And this brings us to a bold claim, a kind of modern conspiracy we've all bought into. The idea is that to win at dating, you have to perform a perfect illusion of indifference. You have to become the cool girl or the unbothered guy. This persona was famously defined in Gillian Flynn's novel Gone Girl, where the narrator describes the ideal woman as one who is eternally understanding, never gets angry, and shares all of her man's interests. Cool girl is hot. Cool girl never gets angry at her man, Flynn writes. She is a woman who, above all, does not have needs. For men, this often manifests as the stoic figure who communicates in one-word answers, who never initiates plans but graciously accepts them, and whose greatest fear seems to be using an emoji. This is the person who is always down for anything, never makes demands, never too emotional, and crucially, acts like they have 1,000 other options, and this particular connection, well, it's just a casual Tuesday. As culture writer for The Guardian, Arwa Mahdawi noted, "It's a tightrope walk of curated nonchalance. It's a strategy of manufactured mystery and emotional distance, rooted in what psychologists call the scarcity principle. By appearing less available, you create a perception of higher value. We've convinced ourselves that the person who holds the power is the person who needs the other one less. Hyper-independence becomes a weapon, a shield we use to prove we won't be the one to swerve. But here's the nuance, the deeper layer to this game. It's not just a silly standoff. From an evolutionary psychology perspective, this fear of vulnerability makes sense. As Helen Fisher, a biological anthropologist, has noted, the human brain is wired for connection, but also for self-protection. For guys, the fear might be rejection, of being seen as weak or putting all your resources into one bet that doesn't pay off. For women, it might be the fear of being seen as desperate or clingy, labels weaponized to dismiss female needs, driving away a potentially valuable partner by asking for too much investment too soon. I literally waited 3 hours to text him back last week, all to prove a point I wasn't even sure I was trying to make. So we play it cool. A strategy Psychology Today notes is often used to test a potential partner's genuine interest and willingness to invest. We pretend our needs don't exist. We act like we're fine with ambiguity forever. This is where game theory gets really interesting, specifically a concept called the Nash Equilibrium. Stay with me here. A Nash Equilibrium is a situation where everyone is playing their best possible strategy given the strategies of everyone else. The problem is the best possible strategy for you as an individual can lead to a terrible outcome for the group. In this dating game of chicken, your best strategy is to act cool and detached, because if you swerve and show your feelings while the other person doesn't, you risk getting hurt. But the other person is thinking the exact same thing. So what happens? You both play the detached, hyper-independent role. You both refuse to swerve. As one user on Reddit lamented,
We were both playing chess, trying to seem casual and available just enough. In the end, we just checkmated ourselves into being strangers again. You both end up with nothing. A crash. Two people who might have actually liked each other end up in a stalemate of loneliness and misconnection. That's the Nash Equilibrium we're in. A stable lose-lose situation. We're stuck because unilaterally changing your strategy, deciding to be the vulnerable one, feels way too risky when you assume the other person is still playing the old game. The abundance of choice on dating apps just makes it worse, creating what Barry Schwartz termed the paradox of choice. A 2023 Pew Research report confirmed this, finding that nearly half of dating app users feel overwhelmed and frustrated by the sheer number of options, creating an illusion that a less risky, easier connection is just one more swipe away, making it harder to commit to anyone. So what's the concluding thought here? The goal isn't to get better at playing the game. It's not about becoming a cooler cool girl or a more detached man. The point is to see the game for what it is. It's a system that's pushing us toward defensive strategies that ultimately prevent the very thing we're all looking for: genuine connection. This sentiment is echoed by renowned therapist Esther Perel, who frequently speaks about the erosion of trust in modern dating, arguing that our risk-averse culture starves us of the very experiences that build intimacy. A recent report from a Cornell study on dating apps published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships noted that while users employ complex strategies to appear desirable, these often lead to increased rejection and emotional detachment. The only way to break the cycle, to escape that double-loss Nash equilibrium, isn't about outsmarting the other player. It's about recognizing that in this particular game, the only winning move might be to refuse to play. It's choosing to swerve, not because you're a chicken, but because you realize a head-on collision helps no one, and you'd rather end up somewhere real, even if it means taking the risk of looking uncool to get there.